a new perspective on investigation that gives them a literal bird's eye view of the scene. ITD data showed that more crashes happen here at the east entrance to the Clearwater River Casino and Lodge than here at the west entrance. Going up into that hole, very claustrophobic, very warm, and very loud. Maybe you're feeling a little hungry this early Friday afternoon. Well, so are all of these people. Why would you sit in someone's chair if you knew that they only had maybe 16 hours of training to
or they learned
cut your face? Yeah, cut your face and put pigment in there. This is a problem affecting several of Lewiston's parks, and it's far more concerning than what you can see here. This is just one of the crime scenes that officers were investigating today in that double homicide. No more than 299 feet tall, it would look something like this. But already some poor reception from residents here.
They're going to have to stare at a cell phone tower.
Candy says while she's waiting on a response from the city, her biggest concern right now is the health and safety of her tenants.
Shannon, how long did it take to warm up, to actually warm up?
Funny enough, I was told this would happen, but it is actually true. Everything feels a lot warmer after you get out of the water. Routine water testing found that roughly 1 month after it reopened, fecal bacteria levels were again at unsafe levels. This is the list of all the road construction going on this month in Lewiston. Chances of hitting them both, 1 in 88 quadrillion.
Well, as Anna says, I still have a chance then.
That's a big number, quadrillion. Mary Steigers became a professional photographer in a moment of chance.
Fran said, "Mary, will you take that sitting because I'm just not going to be there. I'm sick." And so Mom took the sitting, and then that kind of snowballed, and then people started asking, "Well, I'd like Mary to take my photos."
After working as an assistant for many years, she opened her own studio in 1967, just a short walk from her family's home in the East Orchards. Two of her children, Shar and Mike, are visiting from Utah.
We were raised with the idea that photographs can capture memories, so that photographs are valuable long after the day they were taken.
Back in a place where their mother perfected her art for 35 years.
Somewhere around 14,000 sittings in her career.
Tasked with cleaning up the house and the studio, not in use now since 2002. But it's not just their own memories the Steigers are sorting through.
She's got hundreds and hundreds of pictures that either were tests, rejects, they weren't quite right.
These loose pictures that are not identified. We don't know who they are.
A puzzle they turn to social media to put together.
I woke up this morning with so many, is this you, is this you?
One by one, they've posted the pictures to Facebook, and the response has been overwhelming.
17 years old when that was taken.
From a man who died a year after this picture was taken, to a baby picture with a family no longer together. Shar calls them the orphaned photos, now finding their way home.
The picture is 20 years old, a picture I have never seen to now have in my hands.
But as Mike and Shar reunite the orphan photos with their families, they're also saying goodbye. The house, studio, and acres of property where Mary created a photographer's secret garden will be sold off later this year.
It's been quite therapeutical, or whatever you might say, to be going through these memories.
And touching these things, that the equipment that Mom touched.
Mary passed away in 2015. Her husband just months later. A photograph captures a moment in time and holds it long after the moment is gone. That's what Mary's work was about, and what her children will never forget.
It's a labor of love that we're trying to find homes for these orphan photographs, because we just feel like it's the right thing to do.
Law enforcement officers spend the majority of their day behind the wheel. Regular testing on a closed course makes sure officers get from point A to point B to point emergent C safely.
Pretty much any crime against a person, where we'd have to activate lights and sirens. These skills are really kind of paramount.
But even for this pro, their latest training is something new.
It's like a really big video game.
The driving simulator is a safety-controlled and cost-effective way for emergency responders to train. Since the sheriff's office is a client of Clear Risk Solutions, this training is free, but pays off in big ways.
The idea of being constantly aware of what's going on around you, whether you're in a pursuit mode or just normal driving.
Programmed with different scenarios, with pitfalls officers could face in the real world.
You have people that'll run red lights or, fail to yield to emergency lights and sirens.
I found that out pretty quickly when they put me in the driver's seat. Scenario 1, pursuing a car involved in a kidnapping.
As a police officer, you would be communicating with dispatch.
The first run-through didn't end so well.
This is you sitting in the traffic light.
It took some time to shed my civilian driver mindset and get into cop mode. I can just go into this lane and go around.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. You were very good about using your turn signal to change lanes.
It may look like fun, but this simulation is more than a game.
The likelihood of being involved in a motor vehicle collision is very high in the law enforcement world.
A little foreshadowing. Scenario 2, robbery and a high-speed chase.
You got another car coming from your right, so you want to slow down and let him lead you in. Or not.
Thankfully for me, this is an easy fix.
We just push the replay button and it's all better.
Oops. And thankfully for everyone else, I won't be doing any emergency driving anytime soon. As the new owner of Lewiston's grocery outlet, this is Carlo Montalban's first holiday season in the valley. So when it came to his family's holiday tradition of giving back, he wanted to do something beyond donating to charity.
Let's do something different. Let's do something fun.
His self-described light bulb moment came from the first responders who come into his store.
We wanted to do something to bridge the servicemen and women to the community.
That's how Guns and Hoses was born. It's a simple competition
5 minutes, $150 worth of groceries.
with a huge payoff. The contestants from Lewiston and Clarkston's police and fire departments, along with Nez Perce County Sheriff Joe Rodriguez, zipped through the aisles, gathering up cartfuls of food. At the end of every purchase, grocery outlet cashiers tell you how much you've saved.
There was a little bit of strategy involved as to what items you picked up, right? And I noticed they had a bunch of BOGO items and they took advantage of the digital coupon.
The agency that saves the most claims the coveted trophy. But the real winners are the local families and nonprofits each agency picked, who will now receive the food.
Now that we're in a position to give, we want to give back to our community.
But Carlo says that wasn't always the case.
Once upon a time, we were on the other side of the fence,